Coming up on Reliving Single.
So should we bounce quarters off of each other's ass?
We should not bounce any quarters, any nickels, any dimes. So do you think her interview with him would be HR approved?
Well, it was the Wild West because the 90s before the Me Too, all of these things happened that seemed very normal to us or we had to live with.
Oops, his penis fell in.
I mean, Sinclair's messy.
We gonna try to tongue me?
Keep your hands off my ass, Amber. Yeah.
If you had a safe word, what'd your safe word be?
Ouch.
You know what, universe, I got this lesson. It don't need to come no harder than
exactly.
this right here. I live my life in the shadows.
Welcome back to Reliving Single, the official, unofficial Living Single rewatch podcast. Good looks. Hey, we all want them. We all want them, but it can be a gift and a curse.
Well, how do you say so? What do you mean?
Well, okay, attractive people often get credit for attributes or things that they don't have because people, not me, are blinded by their face card.
Well, it's true. There's science. They've done tests on people looking at pictures of people that were attractive and symmetrical, and they would attribute these qualities and this person looks trustworthy. Okay. Meanwhile, they were like a jewel thief or something. So we think pretty people got it going on. It's part of our biology.
Well, hey, by the way, they say biology is destiny. And so, that's kind of half of Hollywood if you think about it, because we trade on those things. Remember that song?
Which one?
Blinded Me with Science.
Oh, by Thomas Dolby. I love that song.
Yes.
1982, that's my era.
It's power trick emotion. She turned her deaf eyes to me. As deeper than an ocean. As sweet as any harmony.
She blinded me with science.
Science.
When the guy just yells out,
she blinded
science!
me.
With science.
With science.
Yeah. May you all be blinded by science and love. It's time for the rewind, where we watch and relive Living Single with you. Welcome, and here we go. This week we are rewatching Living Single Season 1, Episode 16, Fatal Distraction. Khadijah hires new writer Xavier, who looks great on paper and even better in person. But once she reads his work, she realizes that his good looks have clouded her judgment.
Meanwhile, Sinclair, Overton, and Regine find old love letters in the closet and dive into decoding a 19th century romance. Now, this is guest starring Richard Whiten, my friend, as Xavier, and Ralph Harris Jr. as Wyatt. That's your friend?
I love Ralph.
Come on, Ralph. Yeah. Come on with it. And Sean Tobe as the cabbie, written by David Wyatt and directed by Henry Chan, who also was our editor.
Yeah. This is our first episode directed by him.
Yeah.
Yeah, by him. All right. Well, then let's roll it.
You got some nice credits here.
Yes, and as you can see, I've also been published in Esteem.
Esteem, huh? That's a great magazine.
Yeah, but Flavor is clearly much more in touch with the people.
Xavier, I have a good feeling about you. When can you start?
When do you want me?
As soon as possible.
How about right now?
I'll show you to your desk. Okay, the peep show is over. Get back to work. Dennis?
That's Big Rich.
That's Big Rich.
You always talk about Big Rich on that show, and so now we're really meeting him and enjoying. He is easy on the eyes, no diggity, no doubt.
He really is.
And he's kind, and he's a sweetheart.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
He was holding the check in the episode Crappy Birthday.
Okay.
He's holding the big Ed McMahon check. So he's there in his underoos, looking good. And he's worked hard on that body. But you know what Richard is? So Richard Whiten has the muscles. He's from Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. He went to School of Performing Arts with Richard Lyons, who was on the show playing my boyfriend, who was my real-life boyfriend. I came from Philadelphia with a whole posse. Like
did.
I took half of Philadelphia with me. I mean, it is what it is.
Mhm.
And suddenly, Yvette cast him in this major featured role, which was a big deal.
Did you have something to do with it?
I just think being there at the right time and maybe Yvette sort of just saying, hey, it's perfect. Because if you think about it, he is perfectly cast out of central casting where you say you need handsome man.
Oh,
He's handsome man.
he's handsome man. So do you think her interview with him would be HR approved?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah, I think she got a little distracted, but she kept it professional.
Mhm.
I
Okay.
mean, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit sort of taken by somebody's looks, but I don't think she did anything inappropriate.
But she really didn't do any deep dive. She didn't really, vet him properly.
It looked okay to me, but,
Mhm.
I just hope that she knows more. All the women and Dennis in the office, they wanted to get with Xavier. Come
And
on.
so did Dennis too. People love Dennis. I don't know if he ever had any lines, at least not in season 1, but he was good looking and gay. And shout out to Yvette Lee Bowser for having that gay representation on the show, because that's real.
Xavier spent all day stocking his desk. And we keep the office supplies in the file cabinet. In the bottom drawer.
I know you guys said he looked good, but is the brother really all that?
Girl, his butt so hard you could bounce a quart off of it.
I tried. If only I had better aim.
Sinclair, listen to your shameless prattle. Men could never get away with talking about women like that.
And I think Xavier has a thing for Khadijah.
No. Really?
Oh, do you really think he needed all those supplies?
Do you think that Sinclair pushed Khadijah do you think she egged her on a little bit in this?
I think she did, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Sinclair's messy.
What do you mean Sinclair's
She's
messy?
messy.
She's not messy.
She really is. She's trying to look all innocent up there. You always, come on, you played her.
Not
Now you go-
messy.
Wow.
Not
You
messy.
said like butter wouldn't melt in her mouth.
But I think she's just in it. She's just she's 100% present to everything. Why is she? Because Messy like, girl, you gonna go get you some of that? That would be messy.
Okay, not messy like that, but she's definitely an instigator.
She's all up in the mix. Is what I would say. Okay.
That's another way to put it. Wow, the propaganda is real.
Perspective.
But is Kyle right? Is there a double standard? Like, here they are talking about this dude, and if they were caught talking about women that same way, it's not
That's
cool,
very
is it?
true. But I think he's comfortable doing it because he's a man and he's used to doing it. He's seeing women do it for the first time, and that's uncomfortable. Just like we talk about, do men gossip? Yes, they do. We only say that women do, but of course men do. And so you mean to tell me a woman is going to ogle a man like that? Yes, we might.
Yeah, we might.
Yeah.
But Khadijah's in power. She's the boss.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why, now this is not the first time Yvette Bowser and the writers have put us in a situation where they want to do the gender flip-flops.
Mhm.
We want to see Khadijah as a boss have to confront a subject that men have to deal with all the time, is whether it's appropriate to flirt or date with an employee.
Mhm. Mhm.
Have you done that with your employees?
No,
You just date them?
I just date. No, I don't date them.
No, I mean,
I know. EJ was my employee. Well, he
Okay.
wasn't my. That's what you're
Excuse
getting.
me.
He wasn't.
Once again.
He wasn't my employee. I hired his team to help with my branding and marketing. Oops, his penis fell in. Which, by the way,
His
I get
penis
that from.
fell in?
I get that from Living Single. There's an episode in which Khadijah talks about Scooter. They go out and she goes, and then my clothes fell off. So I say, oops, his penis fell in.
Well, there you go. So, you failed that. So the Me Too movement was non-existent.
Now, people were being Me Too'd all the time, but no one was talking about it.
So do you think that Khadijah should ask Xavier on a date? Me Too's not there.
Right.
What do you think?
It's always a thing. We know that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have met on the job and dated and had successful relationships. I think it's too soon for her to ask him out, actually. She doesn't know him yet.
But you think she should ask him at all? She's his boss. She doesn't know
His
him
show
yet.
is fine. No. No. Well, I don't know if she should ask
I
him
know
out.
you're
I don't know.
conflicted because you're dating someone right now, meaning that's your beloved, that you basically, scammed into dating.
No,
you after
we talked.
paid him.
We became friends first.
Oh, but was he compelled to be your friend?
Here's the difference. I didn't ask him out. He was working with me. We became friends. and then a natural progression. Now it's way too soon.
I agree, but
Yeah.
I don't think she should ask him at all being the boss.
Ever.
Yeah, I
You
don't think it's just,
ever.
No, then he should not work at Flavor.
You don't think that
Preferential
anyone
treatment.
working anywhere should ever be asked out by the boss ever, ever, ever? I'm going to
No.
fire you. Now we can date. That's how it should happen.
No, I think that it depends on the situation, but I think right now, in this situation, he should not be asked out for a date.
No, certainly.
And certainly,
Mhm.
I don't think that in the boss position, because she's a woman in the 90s, that I think that it's never going to go well for her. So should we
Did we
bounce
answer the question?
quarters off of each other's ass?
We should not bounce any quarters, any nickels, any dimes. We should not bounce
your quarter
anything.
would bounce up
It was
to the
actually
sky.
it was actually my butt that attracted EJ finally. He saw my butt and he was like, "Oh, wait a minute." He told me later. I saw it because he went and took a picture of me and he saw my butt and he was like, "Oh, wow. Oh, okay, never mind.
Climb every mountain.
That's right. Do what you got to
Search
do."
high and low. Good for you.
Xavier, you got the job already. You can stop brown nosing now.
No, that's how I feel.
Be for real.
Seriously. You're one of the most engaging and intelligent women I've ever met.
Really?
Really.
Yo, stop.
I guess this is it.
I guess so.
Khadijah, I think I'm flattered, but I don't think this is a good idea.
Ouch.
Ouch. Now, I'm going to say this. In that scene, I mean, he was definitely being, I think that there was a little, I think he was teasing her a little bit.
She did that on purpose.
Of
I
course.
think.
And this is, by the way,
But that's
women and
embarrassing,
men
girl.
do this.
Stop.
You use your feminine wiles or you use your manly wiles to.
He used his
absolutely using it.
he used his Kundalini
Right.
in every way.
He
All
sure
the
did.
chakras was happening. So
Thank you.
when she reached in and then he went and goes, "Oh no, I was just trying to get my bag." Oh,
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
Actually,
I
to
felt
this
so-
day, I get mortified.
Has that ever happened to you?
No,
you ever
hell no,
fumbled?
no. That would never happen to me.
Ooh.
If no, because that means I'm not going to anticipate. You're going to have to be all the way on my lips for me to kiss you back.
Right. Got it.
Like I'm the
Got it.
ice queen there when it comes to that. I don't know you.
Right. And
Wanted
you're not
to?
sure that this is I'm not gonna put myself out there like that.
Has that ever happened to you?
No. I would not make an overture. I've not been the kind of woman that would make an overture.
So now
anyway.
you're playing hard to get.
No, I just don't make overtures. They come at me and I go, yes, no, yes. No. I'm the picker. EJ's pretty much one of the only guys that I've ever been like, you.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. I wait. I wait and wait for it to come. I wait, which is why I've had so many scallywags. I'm busy waiting.
Well,
No.
she should have because he
Yeah.
bamboozled her.
Yeah,
You know what I
think
mean?
so.
Led
for
astray,
sure.
all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was run amok. No. But it was so embarrassing. And when she turned her face and, I was so embarrassed for her.
I get embarrassed
when
for
you watch it.
Latifa.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
not
of
even the character Khadijah.
Yeah.
That's how embarrassing it is. Like,
Oh.
oh God,
Right.
Dana, you blew it.
It was so super cringy.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens next.
She tried to kiss the new guy from work and he left her hanging. What? I'm trying to help you work through your embarrassment.
I feel for you, Khadijah. Men go through this all the time. Always having to make the first move, never knowing what to expect.
Look, forget all of this. I'm just gonna go to work tomorrow and pretend it never happened. Xavier ain't all of that anyway.
It's funny how unattractive a guy becomes after he rejects you.
I think you have to put yourself out there to want to be rejected. To me, the fear of being rejected makes me very conservative. I think
And
that
then-
men are very brave because they have to
They
put themselves
have to be brave.
all the time.
They've talked about men, especially when you're going out to a club or going out to a dance, a man has to walk all the way across the room to ask someone to dance. And then,
Get his
men have to
face
be
cracked.
brave. They have to be, and I think that's also the reason why, we've both lived in the big city. And when you have a man who, talks to you like, hey, pretty lady, what you doing? And then when they go, no, thank you. Like, well, F you, bitch. That's part of the, I put myself out there. You don't want to F you, bitch. Well, I wouldn't want you. That's the kind of man you are. I wouldn't want you anyway. But I think that rejection thing that men have to.
Hard.
It's hard for them.
But Khadijah's rejection is a little worse because she is his boss.
Right.
And Xavier's an employee of
Right.
hers.
And she's got to go see him at work the next day.
Yeah, that's the worst because
That's
that's a
the
daily
worst.
reminder.
Every day. And how do you handle it? What do you say? Do you say anything? Do you, is he gonna say something? Is she
Yeah.
gonna say something?
It also seems desperate.
Aw.
No, come on now. You had authority a second ago, and now you was trying to dig in for a kiss.
Right.
That's
It's
a loss of
A loss of
power,
power for sure.
for sure.
Too much vulnerability.
Yes, not cool. Yeah, and your authority is gone. You're gonna be trying to tell him to do well or
Do
do
stuff.
better, and
We gonna try to tongue me?
Yeah.
Now he's got something over you.
and this is where that saying comes: "Don't shit where you eat."
Absolutely.
Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Tell him what that means.
It means you don't mix your relations at work,
I work.
At all. Don't you just don't fraternize at work. Don't shit where you eat.
Don't put your
Yeah.
peanut butter in that milk chocolate.
Right.
Right?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Let's see.
It could be
Let's
dangerous.
go on.
Look at these typos. I can't believe Xavier wrote this.
Well, his other articles were good, right?
I didn't exactly get around to reading any of his other articles. Xavier, I can't publish this.
Oh, okay. I see what this is about. Last night in the cab, I say no, so you say no.
Xavier, this has nothing to do with last night.
Khadijah, there's nothing wrong with my article. The trouble is, you don't need a journalist. You need a man.
I need someone who knows there are 2 O's in Brooklyn.
Are you threatening to fire me? I hope not, because you'll have a nice little lawsuit on your hands if you do.
That's the fatal flaw. Forget
Yeah.
coming on to him or thinking he's cute or bouncing quarters.
no.
You gotta check the
Check the
resume and
work.
check the work. Oh, you just saying, okay, I see how you doing. And Big Rich, he can get real, okay, you just doing this because my work is good. No, it's horrible, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's horrible, sir.
I felt so bad for
But you can't make a case because you try to dig in and go in.
No, you just mad because I wouldn't give you none.
Yeah.
I felt-
It's
yeah.
pretty awful.
And that's how you know that she's lost all of her power. And he's threatening to sue her. And what if?
Well, regardless of looks, have you ever rushed to hire somebody who wasn't good at their job? Regardless of looks.
No.
You
No.
haven't.
No. So the question is, have I
you
ever
ever
hired somebody who was
rushed?
bad at their job? Yes, I've hired somebody who was horrible at their job.
Yeah, because you rushed, meaning you didn't check or vet. That happens all the time, especially when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
You're like, I
yeah.
heard from somebody, but then I should have called them, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And now look at that.
Sometimes people give great interview. They give great interview, like, wow, she's charming. I had an assistant like this, charming and smart and, went to a great college and has all this stuff. Hot mess.
Yeah.
Hot mess.
Well, you were going off the vibe.
Yeah.
And you can't. You got to check
cannot.
people.
Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever hired someone you didn't check out their
Yes.
stuff? Yeah.
Definitely. All the time. I mean, not all the time. I don't want to say that.
But it's
when I was
happened.
younger, yes, but not in this position that I am now.
Because you have to protect your brand, protect your business. I found files that this girl had hidden underneath the desk. I was like, you didn't file this. She just stuffed it underneath the desk so that she
the
could
hell?
go. I was like, didn't do any of the work, but was a social butterfly and a good connector, but horrible at the
Oh my
actual work that
God.
I'd hired her for.
So what do you do? How do you handle that? Like, how did
I
you
let her
handle
go. I let her go. I had to let her go. Just like, this is not working out. And thank you. And I've seen that these things, and she went on and did just fine. Those people always do.
They do.
They do just fine.
They do. Until they actually,
Until they don't.
Luck runs out like as you get older.
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes that's all down to your youth.
Mm.
People are like, I'm going to give you a shot.
Going forward, I would not hire someone without doing a full, listen, not only fully vetting their resume and their experience, but also giving them personality tests, disc
Oh
tests,
my God.
other tests. There's plenty of tests that you can find out how they communicate, speaking to them in the language that they understand. So like I speak this way, I act this way, I am this way, but you might need something very different. So I need to be able to communicate something to you so it gets done. So learning how next person I hire will go through every test.
So what if you had, there's Kim Inc. and there's multiple positions and this is a good person, just maybe didn't put them in would you do something different instead of fire them?
here's the thing, is to put people in a position where they can best shine.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody was working for me in this capacity, but it wasn't working, I would look at their gifts and talents and see if I could shift them to an area where they
Okay.
could shine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or train them.
right.
Yeah, because sometimes the vibe is there in terms of they're a good person. You've
Or
got
they're driven
but
or
you-
something.
You need
yeah.
training, and nowadays people want you to already be at speed.
Right.
There's very little room for development. But does Xavier have a case?
No. No, he doesn't have a case. There was no witnesses.
Well, everybody in the office dug him,
Right.
and they all went and saw her go to the cab with him. I
But
think
that-
Homeboy got a case.
You think he's got a case?
Hell yeah.
No one saw the swerve. She could easily say, "Oh no, he invited me to take a cab ride home." I would flip that script right
Okay,
away.
so you're saying he say, she
Because
say.
he was the one saying, "Oh, you think we should take a cab?" He invited me on that cab ride. Who's zooming who?
Yeah, but she went on that cab ride. A boss. First day. I think he got a case.
No. Here's why he doesn't have a case. His work is horrible. So she could easily say before the judge, "Look at his grammar."
Let's
I'm on
see.
her side.
I'm fired.
Yep.
I'm fired.
And hard of hearing.
You know, you don't even worth the time it would take to sue you.
I didn't think so.
Okay, I'm out. You can kiss my B-U-T goodbye. T.
So let me ask you this. Did Khadijah use the same recipe that most employers use to assess Xavier's threat to sue?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was time, money, and effort.
Yeah, like he ain't really,
He ain't got the time.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna do the effort.
no.
And he certainly ain't got the money. But she had the receipts. That's the point that you were making before.
Yeah,
So you were right.
his writing was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the receipt.
That's the receipts in the
So
end.
the judge sees that and says, I don't think you have a case. If it was a good writing, then you have a case.
Right.
So I guess that's the point. If you're good at your job, then you're more likely to withstand or be able to sue an employer for good, bad, or ugly.
Okay. If you're
And
good
make
at
your
your job.
case. And right there, it's not up to like a gut instinct. You either can spell or you
Right.
can't.
Right. He said something. Did he say kiss my B-U-T-T? He came back with the T. I love Richard Whiten because he's always so sincere, even when he's, being made a fool of. There's a sincerity that lives in him, an integrity that lives in him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here he was.
And I'm
playing this
sure you were
character.
looking at his integrity the whole
Yeah,
time.
I thought he was
and not
very
his
handsome. I thought he
tight
was very handsome.
buttocks.
There was a time when I was like, ooh.
He's still handsome.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he was lovely too. I mean, really.
And his parents. I still to this day loved meeting his father.
Yeah.
Father Whiten.
Yes.
I would call him Father Whiten.
Yes.
Great storyteller
Astrologist.
and astrologer.
Remember?
That's right.
Yeah, he was always give me your birthday and sit there and then tell us what our star sign was.
Charming, and his mom was lovely. So
Yeah.
I always thank you for the gift of bringing your posse, because what came with your posse were their families and their fun, and it was lovely.
Have you ever taken anyone to court for anything? Not for like sexual harassment or anything?
No, I haven't, but I know you have.
No, I have. I mean, well, I wanted to. There were times I didn't think that I had the time. Well, maybe
Yeah.
I had the money, the effort, the time. Like those things are mixed. I was on the set of Dreamgirls. Because Richard Lyons, my friend, was one of the
One of
dialogue
the
coaches.
dialogue coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a photographer. I asked, hey, man, I'd like to take pictures because I take pictures. Y'all don't know I am a amateur photographer, which I feel more like a pro because I've taken them for years on set. You get bored, so I bring my camera and take portraits. And so he got the okay from the director that I could come and take pictures. And I was taking pictures and everybody's cool. Jamie Foxx was cool. I go up and ask. I introduced myself to everybody, including Beyonce and Jennifer Hudson and Anika Noni Rose. I was taking pictures. And there was this time I was sitting at a table and Beyonce was sitting at the table. And she was in this beautiful ice blue gown, looking young and pretty. And I had my and I'm taking a few. I know how to do it. And I get these shots and I can still see them in my mind's eye, how she looked. And then I went on my business and suddenly some officious man, some young white dude comes up. He's a PR specialist. I'm going to need that film. I said, excuse me? Your film. I'm going to need it. Give it to me. I say, wait a minute. I'm here. I'm a guest. The director told me, well, no, we don't. I don't know anything about that. I said, well, I don't even know who you are, but I got an okay, and I've been here. This is my second day here. He said, well, I'm going to need it, and so the good girl in me thought, I don't want to cause no problems because Richard is there, and I certainly don't want anybody to hear that I'm a problem. So I pull out the roll, and that's film.
You open your camera.
I
pull out the roll.
Pull out the roll. And give it to him. I never saw those pictures again. And I remember trying to get them back. I called my own lawyer and said, you got to call, PR at the studio and tell him. And he said, Erica, I can do that, but are you going to die on this hill? I said, this is my stuff. He took it and he wasn't supposed to. And he said, yeah, but you know what? You probably won't get it. And by the time I lay a suit and all that, do you really want this to happen? And I believe he was saying, it ain't going to happen. They're not going to give you that. They're going to say you are unauthorized or whatever. And I realized I couldn't win. So it only exists this beautiful, beautiful picture of Beyonce in this ice blue. But just the way it looked like Audrey Hepburn. Was beautiful. And I've never seen a picture like that from there. They didn't have a photographer on set. And plus, because I'm embedded with the cast.
Right,
so I'm
they know you.
Shots that other people didn't get. So it hurt the IP is gone. And no, I didn't have the time, the effort. I certainly didn't have the money. I might have had the time, but he didn't have the time. My lawyer didn't have the time. And that's why this new indie sort of power is sweeping the creative nation.
Create it and keep it yourself.
Yeah. Kim, I do everything out of my car. I do everything. It's my office, it's my studio, it's my nap pod.
And shockingly, not where we're recording this podcast.
Don't spoil season 2. Oh, but seriously, I take my calls, I write scripts, I do table reads, all from the car.
I know. I do the same thing. My car is like my home, just with better acoustics and less judgment. I don't sing.
I do. And that's why your car can't just be functional. It has to fit your whole vibe.
That's right. And Lexus understood the assignment. I mean, I'm talking about the LX. Ooh, luxury to the max. There's pour wood trim, massaging seats, and wait a minute, retractable ottoman.
Come on. A whole ottoman, y'all. Come on. Plus it's hybrid, so it's smart, sustainable, and the storage. Chef's kiss. I even have a table for writing.
And it's a rolling sanctuary that helps you move through life with excellence.
And Lexus has always been excellent, even back in the 90s, just like us.
Because that's the standard of amazing.
Hey, friends, summer is winding down. Can you believe it? But there's something about this time of year that makes me want to clear the clutter, reset, and get my space back in order. And lucky for us, Wayfair makes all of that a breeze. Whether you need to cozy up your bedding, upgrade your linens, or finally tackle that hallway closet, Wayfair is your one-stop shop. And if your home office needs some love, desks, chairs, bookcases, Wayfair's got it for way less. Now me, I'm always on the go. So when I'm home, I need everything to have a place. Storage is my love language, and Wayfair helps me stay stylish and organized. Plus shipping, fast, hassle-free, just how I like it. Wayfair has everything your home needs this season. Want to spruce up your fall decor? Wayfair's got it. Need new kitchen essentials for the holidays that are coming up? Wayfair's got it. And if you're like me and need storage for every space, you guessed it, Wayfair's got it. There's something for every style in every home, no matter your space or budget. Get organized, refreshed, and back to routine for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. It's September, y'all. Fall is officially on the horizon, which means it's the best time for fashion. The layers, the boots, the drama. But before you drop a whole check on a new wardrobe, remember this. You don't have to buy it all to wear it all. Nuuly lets you rent the styles you want, rock them for the season, then switch it up when the mood or the weather changes. Nuuly is a subscription clothing rental service. For just $98 a month, you get your choice of any 6 styles each month. You pick what you want, when you want, for whatever you've got going on. Weddings, work, brunch, vacay. It's your call. Access to thousands of styles from hundreds of brands, everything from statement pieces to everyday fly. We're talking labels like Favorite Daughter, Lisa Says Ga, Reformation, Free People, For Love and Lemons, and more. Even vintage, even denim that fits like it knows your life. Inclusive sizing up to 5X plus tall, petite, and maternity options. Come on now, everybody deserves to feel cute. Fast, free shipping and returns, and everything gets professionally cleaned at Newly's top-tier laundry facility. So you can skip the laundry drama and just live. And if you fall in love with something, and you will, you can buy it at a discount. Thank you, wardrobe upgrade. Renting from Newly means you get to wear more while spending less. That I need something new feeling before a trip or event, Newly handles that with style. Newly is a great deal at $98 a month for 6 styles, but right now you can get $28 off your first month with the code SINGLE. Just head over to NUULY.com. That's Newly with 2 U's, and use the code SINGLE when you sign up. That's NUULY.com. Code SINGLE. Get $28 off your first month. Newly subscription clothing rental. Change your clothes. Welcome to The Reverb, brought to you by Lexus. This is where we reflect, connect, and talk about how the episode's themes still echo in the culture. Because just like our stories, Lexus keeps raising the bar. That's the standard of amazing. So Kim, Tarana Burke famously started the Me Too movement, but it was in 2006. But it didn't really hit until 2017, which was basically saying that women were being sexually assaulted, harassed.
Inappropriate behavior, which has been happening since the beginning of time.
Absolutely.
But we know that it culminated at this time. And now women were standing up, and men too, but it was, really women, because this has been happening over and over and over again, saying enough.
Well, it was the Wild West, because the 90s before the Me Too, all of these things happened that seemed very normal to us, or we had to live with.
Yeah.
It wasn't normal. It was just what life was. So I guess that does mean it's normal. It was
the way it was done.
The way it was done.
Like auditions in hotel rooms.
Exactly.
I've gone to an audition in a hotel room.
Most of my auditions were in hotel rooms.
Really?
You didn't rent a space. You went to the hotel where the director was staying, and you'd either meet them in the hotel room, and the casting director would usually be there. But also, I remember the chairs being lined up in the hotel hall with the other actors. And it never occurred to me that anything bad could happen to me.
That you're in this man's bedroom or suite.
Because it was always that way. I mean, and now it just sounds crazy if you have an audition in a hotel room. We also had a lot of late nights with producers. There were no hours. So if you're a performer, there are no 9 to 5.
Right.
And you go whatever, 10 o'clock, you go and you're there auditioning.
As a comedian, I'm at the club late at night. If a club manager wants to go, hey, sit down at the bar and have a little something with me. If I was going for that, I could go for that. I could okay, I'll sit and have a drink with you. You think, hey, let me talk about your career. Those things happen all the time. Early in my career in New York, this hairdresser that I had, and I just started doing stand-up. This hairdresser said, there's a party I want, there's a guy I know that wants to invite you to a party. And I was like, oh, yeah, great. Do my hair and I'll go to the party. I'll do my hair and I'll go. So I got pretty for this party. And I took a guy with me. So he said that he wanted to help models. As you know, at the time I was a plus size model, which was, becoming a new thing, like a really formalized thing. And so I took a guy with me from the agency. They had, plus size women and plus size men. So I took one of the guys. I said, they're looking for models. So come on, let's go. I had no idea that I was being set up to go and have, cocktails with this man. I remember when he invited me into it was like an office space. He saw me and then he saw the guy and he got so mad. He was like, he was angry the whole time. So I said, well, sit down with me. We're going to sit and talk to this guy about, it was like a party kind of whatever. And I remember him being so mad. And he did say to me that, he says, let me tell you what this business is about. It's about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. I'm like, I'm not interested in any of those from you, sir. Whatever. And then I left. But I think I was set up by her to go and meet this man. And he got mad, like I said, because I brought protection.
That definitely happened to me. I was in Paris.
What?
And a producer, I'll just say, picked me up. Because I was staying at the writer Jean-Claude Carrier's house, who's a sweetheart, and had me there. And I think they wanted me to go because they're having a party And so for whatever reason, so he was supposed to pick me up and I don't know, I was young. I was like 18 for a couple of hours. And he took me to his apartment. It's so funny that when you're saying that, he took me to his apartment. And then I was very, I can be very I can withhold.
Oh, yes.
Because I didn't even know what to do. And I think once he saw that I wasn't going to be like on him, I don't know what he thought, he said, okay. And he had driven me there. I had to take the metro back. And I remember feeling weird, like, why did he seem so nice? And then it sort of just turned off. And then I was sort of like, bye. But I think that, and I think that was it. Maybe that's the closest I've come to something, well, whatever exists in real life anywhere else in any industry or corporation exists here.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it like
it's not
Hollywood.
even just Hollywood.
Hollywood, it was very little to do with it. It's just, people take advantage of vulnerable people.
Yeah.
By the way, women aren't the only ones who are faced with predators. Men, it happens to men.
Sure.
And they're starting to speak up.
And women will go, ooh, nice package, or let me bounce a quarter off that. Or, yeah, it happens.
And there's a lot of silence because men are embarrassed. It's a stigma if someone comes on to you. What do you do? If you tell, what are you, some punk?
Yeah, right.
What, some dude come on, you can't take care of that?
Right.
And so the Me Too movement and its really essential package was talking about things that up until that point, people weren't believed and also you weren't protected. And I think society now, from now and then, has changed.
Absolutely.
I hope it has changed.
I had a situation that I don't ever talk about where someone was very aggressive with me. There was no touching, but it was very aggressive. And there was a lot of it. And it happened quite a bit. And I remember telling my agent, well, I want to sue. Can I do something? And he said, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm looking at a stack of papers as thick as a phone book, if y'all remember phone books. And he said, and this actress will never work again. Whether it's true or not true, it was his client. I'm sure he believed her. I hope he believed her. He said she'll never work again after this lawsuit. And I would advise that you not do it. So here's two things about that. Is that the boys club just protecting another boy?
Come on. Or the system protecting.
The system protecting somebody of power in power.
Yeah.
By the way, that actress did work again. She hasn't worked a lot, but she's been around. But I wonder if her career would have had the trajectory that it would have had she not had this lawsuit.
What's happening nowadays is that now people have more agency and power to say something. It doesn't mean that we've had huge systemic changes, but I think just awareness and talking about a conversation.
Yeah, awareness is up, and people's radars are up now.
Do we feel safer in today's Hollywood than maybe then? Here's the thing: in context, I always felt safe. That might be a wrong way to think, but if it depends on how much agency you had, it might have been a false premise to feel safe, because safe is sometimes how you carry yourself. I think my edge that people see is because I've been in a lot of spaces alone by myself. I have to speak up for myself. I have got to make sure that I'm protected. I didn't have agents or reps with me, and probably most agents or reps, because I didn't have that kind of relationship, never knew what was happening with me. That said, it did not mean that I was ever safe then. I was blessed and highly favored, to be clear.
I'm gonna say something that somebody's gonna push back on. I feel safer because I'm older. When you're the young ingenue, when you're the young, nubile, whatever the new, it happened more when I was younger. Men would say something and try something, see if you go for it. It helps when you're a comedian. You could just laugh, and get out of there. Like, I used humor to deflect so much. Now that I think about it, I used that to, I think so. I was more susceptible or more in danger when I was younger. Also, when I was traveling as a stand-up comedian. So like you, when you go the road, you go by yourself. I always think about how unprotected I felt after coming from a comedy club late at night. So I feel an older woman, they're going to be a little less something.
Maybe that's what I feel too. I feel better in my, but by the way, if we were just talking about assaults and everything, that happens to everybody.
Yeah.
And you
I've-
also feel weaker because you're older.
Right.
Sometimes.
Maybe I gotta start.
I can't run.
Keep doing my squats.
Right.
Keep doing my squats.
Yeah, but you learn. It's like you're an
Yeah.
old lion or not.
Nobody want this old stuff.
Yeah, no, and they do because it's never been about whether you were
Oh,
attractive.
It's
That's about power.
It's about power.
And it's about
and about their insecurity.
their insecurity
all that.
and
Yeah.
that type of darkness. Do we feel like younger actresses and actors are coming into a safer industry?
I think they're coming into a more aware industry. Like I said before, I think there are people will think twice before they try it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they know that there are ramifications of doing that. So I'm not saying the urges aren't still there, the insecurities, the need for power isn't still there. But I think that a lot of that probably has gone a little underground because they know that there's a system in place that that people can activate in order to, have their rights handled.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
But
saying?
you know what? Here's the system that's in place that's doing the most good. This.
Woo! Yeah.
The power of people recording, videoing, placing things around them to say, yeah, next time I got you. You did it once, I'm going to get you the next time and I'm going to have proof. And we're in a world now that polices itself partly because it's
You're absolutely
assuming
right.
that it is being seen at all times.
Woo.
We're talking about sexually, but also if you're Black, how many times have we seen people record and say, thank God that somebody was recording?
Oh my goodness. All the time.
Black, white, and otherwise. They'll stand there, I got you, sir. I am recording this. It is active stream live.
Right. Yeah.
And it's real.
Mhm. Do you think this episode has aged well?
I think it's in a time capsule. That it is of its time. And yet because it's done from a female point of
Right.
view,
Yeah.
it's less harsh.
Mhm.
If we saw it like that played out and you just flipped the script and she wasn't Khadijah, she wasn't Latifah, then I'd probably be looking at it like, wow, look how easy she was. Like, she don't have time, effort, or money. So she's not going to be able to do anything,
And it still speaks to the problem that's happening today, that we have to think about it, talk about it, and be aware of it. So that to
Yeah.
me, so maybe it's, I don't know if it holds up per se or if it is the same as, but we're still talking about it today. So I guess it still matters.
Entertainment has no vetting process. Anybody can put up a sign, a
True.
sticker, hand you a business card and say they do this or that and represent themselves
it's-
as false.
Especially if you're new in the business and you don't know, you don't want, there's 1,000 billion stories of people getting fresh off the bus or fresh in town, with, $100 in their suitcase and
Yeah.
ready to become a
Doop, doop,
star.
doodle, doop,
And
doop.
people prey on that.
Nowadays we have sexual harassment training, and we took our first training
We did.
at Living Single. We laughed through the whole thing.
We
'Cause
laughed
didn't
through the whole
That's
thing.
what's different. We didn't even take it seriously.
We did. I don't know. I don't know if
We
we
did
should
tell that
if we should
story. I think
say
we did.
that we
What was
that we
the
didn't
beginning?
that we laughed at it
We
because we were like
did.
we would never be inappropriate with each other. We
Yeah.
would only be respectful. Our guys loved us and respect. And you know what? We would tease them about looking good. Ooh, you look good today. Okay, all right, TC. But it was done in a respectful, loving way. And
Right.
and okay, John. Okay, I'm gonna rub your head today.
Yeah.
it was
But
done
the problem
loving.
is that we were the stars. So we definitely are, if there's a hierarchy,
Oh,
we can't
yeah.
account for what the
Right.
background players or people in positions of PAs were experiencing. And so I think for that reason, you get that type of training now. So everybody's put on blast
Yeah.
that at each place, the department, you are responsible for your behavior.
Right.
And it doesn't matter who comes on. If it's within the confines of this space, these are our policies. This is what we expect. And they've got to, partly because they don't want to be sued, but they
Mhm.
also want to be held accountable and responsible for their workers and employees. And that's a smart thing.
It is. Now you have to.
So
Must
keep
do
your
it.
hands off my ass, Amber. Last time I'm telling you, there's intimacy coordinators, and I had one.
You've experienced that. I've never had.
This basically, they knocked on the door and they said, hi, we're here to talk to you about, you're going to do a scene. And I go, oh God, I'm going to have to invite them into my trailer. And I come to my trailer and then they go, so, any place that you don't want to be touched and I realized then that no one had ever asked me that question at all. And that's why it felt weird. I usually go in, you're like, hey, touch wherever. But no one had ever asked my permission.
Mm-hmm.
The assumption is just because you got the job that you'd allow it. But then people are also being triggered and or not asked, where you go
Like,
to the
what's the
other
limit?
person and
Mhm.
say, listen, she's asked not to do this or that. She's down for this or that. And so everybody kind of just gets, some kind of level playing field
Right.
before they go into the.
Being safe with each other. Like, what's safe here?
By the way, what is your safe
What is
word?
a safe word?
Yeah.
If you had a
they
safe
ask
word,
you.
would your safe word be?
Ouch. I mean, no. Is that a safe word? No. Okay. What would yours be then?
Sassafras. No, there's no bones about it. You know exactly that because who says
You're
the
right.
word
Who says
sass?
sassafras? Maybe anybody could say ouch.
Right.
So it has to be like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh, right.
Cut. We went into that, didn't we, Kim? Yeah.
Hey, is it time for True Blue?
True Blue. Let's
True
go.
Blue, come on now. Hey, Amber, I know you have a True Blue question for us, all ready to go. Let's go.
I do have a True Blue question ready to go for y'all. So this question, it comes from Che, and they ask, hi, Kim and Erica. My question is for the both of you. Kim and Erica, were Overton and Kyle similar to the types of guys you each dated outside of the show? Or were they polar opposites?
No. Except that they were good, decent people.
Hmm.
So that in the same, in character, absolutely, but not in personality, I'd say.
Yes and no. They each had qualities and characteristics that I have found in men that I have dated.
You've dated a balladeer. Somebody who sings. That's real, right?
Right, I have. I did see. And I've dated, good old fashioned regular guys like Overton, like just nice. He's a salt of the earth kind of guy.
Yeah.
I've dated salt of the earth kind of guys.
Yes.
I was
You still kind of thirsty.
I was
You were
bored.
bored?
I was bored. Of course, you're bored by salt of the earth. Like,
Mm.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like you want someone with some salt of the earth is nice for protection and for settling down and there's someone who wanted to marry me and I wanted to be married so bad. I'm so glad we didn't get married. I would have been bored out of my.
Well, it's like,
Bored.
hey, babe, you want a chicken fried steak tonight, or you want to really go all out and pull out those steaks?
But those guys in the end, most times can't manage the life that we have.
No, that's the problem.
Sometimes you're going to get photographed. Sometimes you're going to be, and most times places we go, I'm going to get noted. Like I had a guy just like, would they stop coming up to the table? I go, that's not going to happen. I'm Kim Coles.
Yeah.
And they would get really like, huh, like I'm going to be gracious to these people. So you're going to have to figure it out. And they're like, I'm out.
Yeah, well, the minute they say, I can't imagine how you deal with this all the time. You already know that
We're not going to make it.
You ain't
We're not
gonna
going to make it.
It's like, because, that is my
We're not
life
going to
all
make
the
it.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had a guy break up with me and said he was a private investigator. And he said, I live my life in the shadows. I can't handle this. I live, he's a private, he literally said, I live my life in the shadows. I can't do this. I said, you came close to the light, baby.
Yeah,
You came all up and all
He's
through
talking about the Shadowlands.
He was drawn to the light, but needed to go back to the shadow.
Shallow. In the
Right.
shadow. Yeah, I'm taking shallow. Thank you, true detective.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I live my life in the shadows. Okay. Retreat.
Who haven't you dated?
We have one more question,
Oh,
and this
okay.
is from Maria. And I'm just going to just say this part, but she says Latina's here, so she's shouting herself out.
You always say that we did very well in the Latino
We
households.
were number one for 5 years
Come on.
in the Latino
Come on.
households.
Come on.
As far as I'm concerned, they are our people.
They are.
Yes.
All right.
Claro.
Well, one of our people are here. Maria,
Oh,
Latina
I hate
here.
it.
My sister and I
Miguel.
grew up watching your show and absolutely loved it. Living single has yet to be matched. She asks, what piece of advice today would you share with your younger selves before starting living single that could potentially have a different impact on your careers today?
Let's say it at the same time without knowing. Save your money. Save all your money.
All your money.
Don't buy any
Don't buy
designer stuff.
anything.
I bought a house. I helped my mother buy a house.
That's right.
That's All I should have bought. Yeah.
And my mother too.
Yeah.
But that's all I should have. And you know what? The truth is, I started a whole production company in my
You
house.
did.
That's
You
what I spent.
did.
I had the same Nissan Maxima
You did
for
the
that
longest time.
for the longest time. But you know what? I didn't know how to manage that,
Yeah.
so I could manage to do more with it. I mean, I was trying to invest. Weren't you trying to invest in
I
yourself?
was. I did a play. I traveled with
right.
the
Oh
show.
my
I had
gosh.
other projects and things. I started building other things. I made sure all those actors got paid and
That's
stayed
right,
in the
Kim.
best
I remember
places.
you saying,
Yeah.
I got to pay for this play.
Oh yeah. And they got hot lunches every day. Ask Sean Baker. Come
Good
on.
for you.
I would not shop nearly as much as I did.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
But also, we thought it would never end.
Oh, I thought, why would it end?
Yeah,
Why
and it
would
wasn't like you
end?
didn't
Yeah.
think it was an end, but you just thought that you had a long road. But once you were discovered and you were doing so well, and everybody's saying you're doing well, okay, there'll be other opportunities.
I thought it would last forever in that way, that I would go on to the next big thing.
And often that is the opportunity, and most people don't see that.
No.
But you know what? The truth is, we're here.
Yeah, and I wouldn't, so I'll say this, that's the advice I would give, but I would not change any step of my journey, not any step. I couldn't be who I am today if I hadn't had that experience of bill collectors calling your house. And my name really is Kim Coles.
Right.
Oh, hey, Sinclair, how are you? I'm like, okay, woo, woo, woo. Yes, I know I owe some money. It's horrible and it's wonderful. And I'm grateful for every
God bless you.
step of it.
I would skip step 5, 9, 2A,
No, you wouldn't.
the prequel.
You wouldn't
and-
be who you were.
I'm good with that.
You would change stuff.
I think the core of me would always exist, but hell yeah, I'd skip some stuff. Let me
Yeah.
just say that
There's-
there are things that I would change. Not I regret that I
Oh.
would change because hindsight is 20/20. But I'm like Kim. I do appreciate the journey, but I'm a quick learner. If I could,
I got
could've
that
just-
lesson. I
if
got
I
that
could have just
lesson.
had a guide. That's what I want,
Yeah,
though.
got it,
That's
got
what
it.
this is partly about, Kim. Trying to give people a guide so they can say, "Hey, look, they talked about that."
Right.
So I'm more ready to
I
have
see
those
what that is.
conversations.
Yeah. I think there's something in that too, that if, they always say that whatever lesson you don't get now, it's coming again and it's going to come bigger and harder.
That's right.
And harder and harder. And so I'm like, you know what, universe, I got this lesson. It don't need to come no harder than this right
Exactly.
here. I'm going to go ahead and get this. I'm going to go ahead.
I got a
this.
master's degree
Yeah,
and a
I'm
doctorate
good. I'm
on
good.
that.
So it doesn't need to be more difficult
No, I'm
next time.
good.
And you don't need to lock it in. It's locked in already. Because sometimes you get locked. Let me see if you really got that lesson.
no.
You don't need to lock it in. Locked in. Cha-kang, cha-kang. It's locked in. I'm good. I got that one. Got that one. Check. Tick. Let's move on to the next. Because it's so much. There's so much. And we're just getting started, Erica. Whether you believe it or not, we're just getting started.
See you on the
feel
other side.
See you on the other side, Lord. Thank you for the True Blue questions to Che y gracias por su pregunta a la Maria. Listen, you may want to get your question on the True Blue. Who wouldn't want to have their question answered right here with us? So all you have to do is send your questions where, Erica? Where do they have to go?
Send them to Reliving Single Podcast at heartbeat.com and we'll look out for them.
We sure will.
That's
our show.
That's our show, Kim. Make sure that you follow us on all our socials at Reliving Single Podcast and listen and watch us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you get your podcast.
And don't forget to like and subscribe and watch all the way through. We love you
that.
for being here with us. And you know what? We're going to see y'all next week.
Whether you like it or not.
They love it.
Reliving Single is hosted by me, Erica Alexander.
And me, Kim Coles.
Reliving Single is a production of Heartbeat in association with Color Farm Media.
Executive produced by Kevin Hart, Jeff Clanagan, Eric Eddings, Leslie Guam, Erica Alexander, and Ben Arnaud.
The show is produced by Kim Coles.
Amber Watson is our senior producer.
Our associate producer is Kenny Jackson.
Our other associate producer is Electra Telesford. Our video editor is Nee Kirschman.
Our sound engineers are Eric Hicks and Cedric Wilson.
Production supervision by Razak Boykin and Brett Calkins.
Additional production support from Alex Atkins and Z Taylor.
Special thanks to BK Augustine and Dr. E.J. Johnson.